What is going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a blessed Sunday. Today is September 24th, 2023, and we are breaking down the LSU Arkansas game as your Fighting Tigers took down Arkansas in the Battle of the Golden Boot last night, 34-31. Game-winning field goal, Damian Ramos. The game in general, there's a lot to get through. It was an experience by all words I can explain. Today is just, it's been a long day. Let's just say that. It's been a long 24 hours for me, man. I was there in Louisiana at the game, it was a late night, got on the plane early this morning to get back to Charleston, and here we are doing the pod, man, breaking it down like we always do here on these Sundays. So, like I said, LSU gets the victory. It was a tremendous weekend for LSU and the fans. What a great experience to see LSU in their first SEC game at home. And they come out with a huge win. Not the prettiest game in the world, but you can't really complain after a victory, right? You can kind of nitpick, and that's what we're going to do today because we got to have something to talk about. This game was rough in the beginning. Jane Daniels was not locked in early in this game. I believe the halftime line for him was 9 for 16. But that completion percentage soared in the second half. He turned it on. The LSU offense turned it on as well. I believe they scored on every single possession after the first 3 drives of the game. So tons of credit to the offense. A night where your defense really struggled to get stops in the second half. Your offense went in there, bailed them out, and just kept running up the score on Arkansas, putting the pressure on them. And finally, you get the ball last right there. You don't really give Arkansas a chance to go down there and tie. It was executed perfectly. The last 5 minutes of the game, they were able to run out the clock, kick the game-winning field goal, and give your Tigers the victory. Now, a lot of people this morning are, couch coaching today. And there's a lot of things LSU still has to improve on. This is kind of what I've been trying to tell you guys for a long time now, man. LSU is at that level, right? I believe they're at a level where they can beat anybody in the country, right? There's no doubt in my mind that if they play their best, they can go out there and they can compete and beat anybody in the country. But what separates good teams and great teams is the consistency. So last week you have a great outing. You go to Mississippi State. You dominate that game from start to finish. In this game, you kind of come out flat, right? I use a good baseball analogy, right? I'm a former baseball player. A lot of you guys are fans of baseball. You've heard the saying, right? When a pitcher doesn't have his best up, just give your team a chance to win. And that's kind of what LSU did, really. They didn't have their fastball early in the game, and they just had to kind of work through the growing pains. But once the offense got going, man, they were unstoppable again. LSU's line of scrimmage was able to dominate. They were able to run the ball, which was very surprising, being Arkansas allowed under 100 yards rushing per game and hadn't allowed more than 100 in any other game so far this year. LSU kind of tormented them on the ground with 189 yards rushing. They were just able to do whatever they wanted. They averaged 6.5 yards per carry. And a lot of people were wondering in the first half kind of like why they didn't try to run the ball more. I was one of those people because obviously you saw early on Jane Daniels was struggling with his accuracy, missed on a couple deep balls, a couple easy throws that he missed. Just wasn't a lot of rhythm to the offense the first 3 possessions. But like I said, they were able to turn it on. They scored every single drive after those 3. And that's what won you the game, because on a night where your defense struggled to get off the field on third downs, give Arkansas credit though, man. KJ Jefferson balled out. He was tremendous again, like he always is. He's one of the best quarterbacks in this league for a reason. And he was undoubtedly one of the best players on the field last night and really helped Arkansas convert several long third down plays. The thing that was probably most frustrating for LSU fans was, like, in the second half, it really felt like you got Arkansas behind the sticks a lot. They had a ton of penalties. They had 11 penalties, Arkansas did, whether it was procedures or holding, whatever it was. It just felt like Arkansas was behind the sticks a lot, but they were able to convert all of those into scoring opportunities within a couple plays. It was very frustrating to see a lot of your defensive line did a good job of getting pressure on KJ Jefferson, but just not being able to finish with the sack or finish with the pressure to make him throw the ball away. He was able to buy time and extend plays, and I mean that's what good quarterbacks do. He kind of just proved what the hype is about. Like KJ Jefferson is a solid quarterback in this league. He's always been able to do it with his legs. And when he gets to extend plays, it kind of breaks down the defense, and it's tough to guard guys for that long. LSU had the busted play there in the fourth quarter where kind of Zaya Alexander got caught out of position, kind of watching the ball. They get the big touchdown over the top. And then you get a penalty, right? Back them up on the 2-point version. They were still able to convert that. So it was just that kind of night, And then you finally feel like you're getting a stop there, and Harold Perkins gets the roughing call. We can debate that call all the time, but in that situation, I kind of feel like you gotta let up and just like let them throw it, man. Because that was a costly penalty that took it from 4th and 18 and gave them a first down. They scored on the very next play. Not saying anything would change. I mean, just your odds go tremendously up if it's 4th and 20. Then giving them a fresh set of downs. But what Arkansas did in this game, I believe, was they used their rushing attack. I thought they were able to run the ball very well against LSU's front in the first half and kind of wear them down. You kind of seen a lot of hands on the hips there in the second half. 34 minutes of possession time for Arkansas. They had my biggest concern, right? You saw at the beginning of the game, they drove down the field twice. LSU did a great job holding them to field goals in the beginning. But they kind of just wore them down. They were long, extended drives, multiple. I mean, they were like 10 to 15 play drives that, yes, resulted in field goals, but that ended up taking its toll on LSU there in the second half because a lot of hands on hips, a lot of tired guys were in there. The defensive line was getting rotated in and out. I thought guys on defense that were tremendous was Whit Weeks again was tremendous. You seem to found that guy at linebacker that can fill in when Omar Spates is out, when Greg Penn is out. That guy can step in immediately and give you good quality play at the linebacker position. That combination there has really helped LSU the last 2 weeks with Omar being out. Also, Andre Sam playing that safety position for Greg Brooks being out, obviously. With everything that's going on with that situation, he has stepped in. He's played tremendous. I've been super impressed with 14. He had an interception in this game, had a ton of tackles. It felt like he was just everywhere, which is what you want to see from that kind of like hybrid safety position. You want to see guys coming up, stop and run plays, getting on the outside, blowing up those like wide receiver screens and stuff like that. And he's been doing a tremendous job with that, along with being in coverage, right? The defensive back situation, obviously, Denver Harris, I think he's getting there, guys. I think the secondary in general is getting there. I feel like they're in position all the time. There's not times where I'm looking at his busted coverages. They're giving up catches right now, right? Guys are making plays on them. And I feel like over time that's going to come. They're going to be in better positions, and they're going to be able to knock these balls loose. There were some completions on Denver where he was right there, man, and it was just the guy made a great catch. The Arkansas has tall, physical receivers, and they were just going up and getting balls. But that's definitely something we got to keep an eye out on. That's definitely the Achilles heel for LSU right now. It's kind of when they get beat over the top on some of these balls in the back of the end zone, balls to the sideline. Outside in the perimeter. But I thought overall LSU's coverage was very good. I think the score is kind of misleading on how the defense played. The defense was terrible on third downs. 8 for 13 Arkansas was, 1 for 1 on fourth down. They were just terrible on third down. They couldn't get off the field. But first, second downs were great. I mean, they got sacks. They were able to stop the run at some points. It was just one of those weird nights where you were just like, every single time they got in third down situations, they converted. And it was just a very frustrating night because you got pressure on KJ, you just couldn't bring him down. He was able to extend plays and create plays for his team. But that being said, with the defense, I think the improvement is still getting there. Obviously, it's going to be huge getting Spades back. The defensive line looks great. Jordan Jefferson looked really good last night. Number 99, big defensive tackle. Saw him blow up a couple plays in the backfield and getting pressure on KJ Jefferson up the middle. That's huge when you can rotate in guys and still get the same amount of pressure. We saw Deshaun Womack get a sack last night, his first career sack. That's a 5-star true freshman that's going to see a lot more playing time as we go out throughout the season. But this game was won by the offense, man. Like I said, Jane Daniels was struggling at the beginning, but man, when he picked it up, the whole team picked it up. Logan Diggs had a tremendous day. The running backs in general had a tremendous day. Like I said, 6.5 yards per carry, 189 yards on the ground. Logan Diggs finished with 14 carries, 97 yards. Jane Daniels ends up finishing this game 20 for 29 for 320 yards, 4 touchdowns. What more can you say? Jane Daniels is a baller. I hate that we have to have this conversation all the time. And yes, he did start off slow. Started off 9 for 16, finished 20 for 29. So I'd say that's a pretty solid second half there. Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors were your 2 leading receivers again. Arkansas kept playing single high man coverage, and it was just obvious at that point. Even the balls that Jane was missing in the first half, you kind of saw like, hey, if Arkansas keeps doing this, this is going to be a problem for them because there was a lot of guys open on just badly thrown balls that our receivers are winning every single time. Like when they got one-on-ones, like they were calling plays, they were calling shot plays. Like LSU threw like 3 deep balls that to Malik and Brian Thomas in the first quarter of the game. They just weren't able to hit on them. And once they finally hit them, they hit that one right before the half where Brian Neighbors just toasted this dude in the slot. Jane Daniels throws a perfect ball. You get a huge score right there before the half to make it 13-10. And then you get the ball to start the second half. And then you get the offside free play. He throws it up. Brian Thomas tips it up to himself, catches it, makes a guy miss, touchdown. And just like that, you're in the lead. And that's kind of how this game felt, where it was like, all right, the offense is back. All right, let's kind of pull away. But LSU's defense was just never able to get that stop to create that separation. Once they got a lead, it was kind of that frustrating thing that we were talking about with the third down conversions. It just felt like they weren't able to get off the field, and it was just a very frustrating night. What this means going forward, obviously LSU's road does not get any easier. They hit the road back-to-back weeks. They start with Ole Miss this weekend, and they're going to be playing probably a 5-0 Missouri team the following weekend. Ole Miss is not a team to look around and say LSU should beat them. It's a very winnable game for LSU. I'm not saying that they're going to lose, but Ole Miss's offense is very potent. They've had some offensive line struggles, which I like that matchup with LSU's defensive line playing the way they have. If they can get Jackson Dart on the ground, Jackson Dart is a mobile quarterback just like KJ Jefferson is. If he's able to extend plays with his legs and find guys downfield, that doesn't bode well for LSU. I like LSU's offense against anybody. I don't give a damn who they're playing. LSU's offense is rolling, and they are hitting a stride like they hadn't hit at any point last year. Maybe the Florida game was the only example, but they've shown, 4 straight weeks now that this offense is going to put up points. It's just a matter if LSU's going to be able to get enough stops to score more points than the other team, right? And that's how I kind of got a feel in this game in Oxford. It's kind of awkward time. But you're going into a hostile territory, a team coming off a loss. They're going to be in wounded animal mode just like Arkansas was, giving you a tough game. People just need to understand, this is the SEC, guys. This is a talent-ridden league. All these teams are good, right? LSU, There's not a single team on LSU schedule that I don't think they can beat, but there's not a single team on LSU schedule where I automatically go in there and check a W, unless you're talking about like Army and play teams like that, right? There's no conference opponents left where I'm sitting here checking the box and saying that's a win, because this league is tough. LSU hasn't shown me enough to be consistent enough to where I can expect them to go week in and week out, and just go out and dominate folks. And that's just not a realistic expectation for anybody in this league, let alone a team like LSU that is kind of still trying to figure things out as they go. They're figuring things out fast, though. You should get Omar Spates back this week, which will be huge for the middle of that defense, being able to rotate in linebackers. That's going to help a lot. But like I said, we're going to be doing a full preview on Ole Miss later on this week. Kind of want to just give you guys the breakdown. What an awesome night for LSU fans to experience that in Tiger Stadium. Like I said, the first home game of the SEC slate, and it was amazing. It was a great prime time night game in Tiger Stadium. It was a great atmosphere. I enjoyed it. I'm sure you guys did as well. If you guys watched it on TV, I'm sure you guys were stressing out just as much as everybody else was. But like I said, man, it's easier to critique these things after you get a win, and that's exactly what the Tigers did. So that's all I got for you guys today, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time.